Welcome to Miles Ahead, the Canadian Points Podcast, brought to you by FrugalFlyer.ca, where we talk about all things miles and points, a hobby that allows us to travel all over the world in style and on a budget. As per usual, I'm joined by my regular co-hosts, Josh and Jeff.
Thanks for having me, Danny.
Yep, always something to talk about.
Yes, and today we're specifically going to be talking about how to make the most of your points and miles, even if you've only got a handful left in a loyalty account. We're going to cover the best flight redemptions, a few hotel redemptions, or what to do if you've got some points orphaned in a loyalty account with just a few left. We'll talk to you about some of the best ways that you can redeem those miles, or alternatively, just keep them alive until you might have a use or end up naturally collecting a few more. So we're going to start with the best flight redemptions for small balances. And we're going to try and make this a bit of a conversational style episode, but we will have a few set topics in here as well. So the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is going to be Air France KLM promo rewards. If you're a regular listener, you'll know that we absolutely love the fact that Amex Canada has changed their membership rewards to transfer on a one-to-one basis to Air France KLM Flying Blue. And from an economy perspective, every month they are going to release a slew of destinations within North America that start at just 18,750 Flying Blue miles, which frankly is half the cost of Aeroplan one way to Europe. So really is an awesome opportunity to use a small amount of Amex points where to earn 18,000 Flying Blue miles at 5 points per dollar. Could somebody help me with the math on that? How much spending would that be? I should have done this math in advance, but $4,000 in spending over the course of a year to get the return of a one-way ticket to Europe is pretty incredible. But sometimes these also include business class. So you can occasionally find 45,000 point redemptions or even 30,000 point redemptions in premium economy. So if you're interested in Air France KLM, you can listen to the program overview in episode 31, which we'll include a link to in the show notes. Have you guys ever used a promo reward before?
You know, we were talking about this, I think, maybe in the Flying Blue episode, and I believe I mentioned I'm in Vancouver, and I've never seen a promo reward to Vancouver before. And I think Josh agreed and said he's never seen one to Edmonton either.
Not yet.
I haven't.
I would jump at it if it came up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good opportunities out there. I will say, it's a good redemption for a small balance, but just be prepared for the taxes and fees component of it if you're redeeming with Flying Blue, but still some great value. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the promo rewards come out at the start of every month, right? Kind of like clockwork, and they release their list of cities. So it's something that's worth keeping an eye on every time a new month rolls around to see if there's either a city you live in or one nearby that you can book a flight out of to take advantage.
First Monday of every month.
First Monday.
First Monday. Yep. That's right. And the easiest way to find those is just Google Flying Blue promo rewards for the month and year. Very important that you put the year in that Google search or whatever your favorite search engine is. And you'll find plenty of articles from blogs around the ecosphere. At the moment, Frugal Flyer isn't a news blog per se. We're more of an informational blog, so we don't publish monthly articles about what the Flying Blue cities are, what the promo reward cities are, but we always mention them in our Points and Miles news episodes, which usually debut within the first week of every month that comes out. But that's not the only SkyTeam redemption. This one you'll need USMR for, but as our resident US membership reward expert, Josh, please tell us what you can use a SkyTeam partner that transfers from United States membership rewards for 6,000 points.
Absolutely. So Virgin Atlantic, their flying club is a unique program that offers some really good redemptions just in general, worldwide. So if you have Virgin Atlantic Flying Club miles, you can actually redeem 6,000 of those for flights from the East Coast to London. It gets even better because you can transfer them from US membership rewards as well as other programs in the States. But there's often transfer bonuses that can be as high as 30%. So it makes it, even cheaper, frankly. If you don't want to fly economy, we've also seen premium economy for as little as 10,000 points. Business can be around 30 to 40K. It is important to note that if you are booking this on Virgin Atlantic metal, the taxes and fees are very high, almost punitive in a way. it is just part and parcel of flying this product. And if it's a product that you do want to fly at some point in your life, you will be paying those taxes and fees. You can avoid some of the taxes and fees by connecting through London Heathrow versus originating and terminating there. That's great advice, frankly, just for booking anything through London in general. If you can connect onwards or fly somewhere else and take a train to London, whatever it may be, or, a short hour hop intra-Europe, there's a great angle there. But it's a unique redemption, and I mean, you can't beat 6,000 miles. That's just unreal, right? To go across an ocean, that's nuts.
Yep. You can redeem 6,000 Aeroplan points to fly between Toronto and New York City, or you can redeem 6,000 Virgin Atlantic miles to fly between New York City and not London, Ontario, London, United Kingdom. So one of the interesting things about this route is that they do have a very unique daytime flight between JFK and London Heathrow. So it leaves around 8 o'clock in the morning and you land about 8 p.m. at night. And from the people that have taken this flight that I've talked to, it actually makes the jet lag almost non-existent, because you would wake up usually around 4 or 5 a.m. to make your way to the airport for 6 a.m. for your 8 a.m. flight. So you're already tired. And then it's pretty easy to stay up on the flight because it's going to be daytime as you make your way over. The sun is setting as you're landing. You make your way to the hotel. You're already tired because you got up early to take your early morning flight. And you go to bed and you wake up and boom, you're right on the UK schedule right away. Jeff, I know you've talked about some of the struggles of flying with Aer Lingus and the fact that the flights aren't that long from the East Coast to Western Europe, and specifically the islands of Western Europe.
I wish there was more daytime flights just because of that reason, because the flights just aren't long enough. As you said, my wife and I did fly business class from Toronto to Dublin, and it was under 6 hours. And we found having business class, of course, is nice, but it's not like we really got quality sleep on that flight any more than we probably would have had if we were sitting in economy. So because the flights are so short, I mean, you could probably do this in economy, no problem, especially since it's a daytime flight. So like I said, I wish there was more of these.
Yep.
Yeah. So a great way, not like you're going to see the 6,000 point redemption schedule on that daytime flight often, but because everybody wants it, it's well known that that's a good way to fly to Europe. But if you can find it, it's definitely a great one. And I actually flew Virgin Atlantic Economy on my million mile challenge. And it's not wonderful, but it wasn't the worst flight that I took on that million mile challenge. I think it's better than Air Canada. Now, granted, I did the Air Canada flight that was 10 hours in economy from Seoul to Vancouver, and this was like 6 hours from JFK to Heathrow. But still, I felt like Virgin Atlantic was better than Air Canada. So if you're only used to Air Canada economy and you're like, is it really worth it for me to go through the effort? It might be. I think it might be, at least to save some cash and to save some miles. Now, the next deal that we're going to talk about is something that I've talked about a lot. So I'm going to let somebody else talk about this deal. Jeff, I know you've actually never used American Airlines or Alaska Miles you've never used Alaska Miles to book Porter or American Airlines, but this is probably one of the best deals going for Canadians right now. And normal listeners, I apologize for thoroughness. We've got to talk about it again, but Jeff is going to talk about it because you've heard my voice talk about this deal so often.
I don't know why you're asking me. This is like right up your alley. Like this.
A little bit of flavor, a little bit of flavor for the folks.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've never flown on Porter. I just don't use Porter. And honestly, I prefer to use my Alaska Miles for other redemptions, but I see the value in it. So it's 4.5K Alaska Miles in economy and 6 in Porter Reserve. That's what they call it, right?
Yep, Porter Reserve, but it's technically classified as premium economy, which is important for the award chart.
Right, so it shows up as premium economy on the search results, is what you're saying, yeah.
Yes.
And so that gets you from where to where? Is that from Vancouver to Toronto? Or is that from Toronto to New York?
From Vancouver to Toronto. No, not from Vancouver to Toronto. So this is for flights that are under 700 miles in distance. Okay. So anything that's under 700 miles is going to be at the 4.5K saver rate or a 6K premium economy. The 1,400 mile threshold is the next kind of distance band within the Alaska chart, and that only goes up to 7.5K versus the 4K. So, for example, Canada's a pretty big country, so there's not a lot that falls within that range. But one of the cool things is that to go from Winnipeg to New York City, which regular listeners will know, I'm originally from Winnipeg, got a lot of family there. So 7,500 miles plus $19 in taxes to originate in New York and make my way up to Winnipeg is just absolutely bonkers. Like, I will never find a better redemption rate than that. So it's pretty awesome in terms of the small amount of miles required. But American Airlines also falls into this partner booking chart as well. So, like, what do you think, Jeff? Hubs like at Dallas and Chicago.
Yep. Miami.
Yeah. Yep, Miami. Tons of flights that you might be able to position down to. Or if you're an American listener that's listening to the show, positioning yourself around from that hub, 4,500 miles or 9,000 miles in business class, not premium economy for that short haul, but it's definitely a great way. But how would we acquire Alaska miles in Canada, considering that we don't have any co-branded cards anymore, Josh?
It's a bit of an uphill battle in Canada with Alaska miles, which is a shame because they're incredibly valuable. Probably the most prominent way you're going to see is you can transfer Marriott Bonvoy points to Alaska miles. I believe it's if you transfer 60,000 Bonvoy, you get 25,000 Alaska. So it's not Alaska miles anymore. Let's cut to the chase here.
It's true.
We've screwed.
Oh, wow.
We've buried the.
We're not going to re-record it
here. No, we're not going to re-record it because Danny and Jeff just pour their hearts out for us here. No, so Atmos Rewards, formerly known as Alaska Airline Miles. Yes, they're very hard to earn in Canada, so you can transfer the Marriott Bonvoy to them. There is also a line of Bank of America co-branded Atmos Rewards cards, which you can get with an ITIN. We do have an article on that. We'll share that in the show notes. It's, your mileage may vary with that. I was able to get one over the phone with no issues and haven't ran into any issues yet, as Reed got one in person. Your best approach is normally going in branch for stuff like that, but it does work. You can also purchase Atmos Rewards when they're on sale. They do run promotions where you can earn an increased percentage, and it actually comes down to a decent cost for what it's worth, depending on the value you're getting. You do need to make sure if you are purchasing those, if you have a US issued credit card available to you, you do save on the Canadian taxes on that, which can add up a lot. When they're on their best promo, Danny, how much are they per mile?
Yeah, so a little under 2 US cents per mile. So I've seen, just as an example, if it's your first time listening to me talk about this deal, I regularly see 3 cents per mile. So basically a 50% return or a 50% discount on your Alaska Miles tickets. And I've gotten some absolutely insane, like a 5 or 6 cents per mile. Now, when we're talking in the 5 or 6 cents per mile range, I normally wouldn't pay cash for those. However, the opportunity to have a second free check bag, sit in Porter Reserve, have a more comfortable experience, elevates quite a lot. So that's just not something that I would ever pay, $800 for a one-way flight between Winnipeg and New York City. But, if I'm moving pets around, if I have a cat traveling with me, at those extra 4 inches of legroom make a huge difference for the carrier sitting underneath my feet. Now, staying in the One World ecosphere, you can also find some amazing deals on American Airlines dynamic pricing. I actually didn't ask you guys this before. Have either of you used American Airline miles to fly on American Airlines themselves?
Never.
No. Always
Got it.
always
I guess
a partner redemption.
I guess I'll take the heavy lifting on this one too. So this can be a total lottery. You can search something on American Airlines one day or even 1 hour and then search it again literally an hour later and get a completely different result that's lower than what it previously was. So if you don't see something that you like and you're not in a rush to book something, try again a little bit later and you might end up with a result that you like. A real example that I found was 6,000 points to fly from YVR, so Vancouver, to New York City. And that's insane. Like, I've never seen anything at 6,000 points to cross continent like that. It did require an overnight layover at DFW, but there are 2 different Hyatt hotels that are attached to Dallas-Fort Worth's terminal. So I was able to actually cross off a Brand Explorer, which if you don't know what Brand Explorer is, we're not going to get into it here, but Jeff, I think, has an article all about Brand Explorer. Somebody does. We'll link to it in the show notes. Yeah. And Brand Explorer is a way to get free nights at Hyatt's as you check off different brands. So it effectively was a free hotel stay, kind of. Like it forced me into using my points. Now is a free night certificate I have to use within a year, but still, 6,000 points to cross the continent was amazing. The best way to acquire American Airlines miles is going to be from RBC Avion Platinum and Infinite cards, or you can also accrue them by spending on the Ion Plus series of cards. To actually transfer to American Airlines, you do have to have an RBC Avion or Platinum. They transfer at a subpar ratio, like 1 to 0.7 miles, so it is good for small balances. I had a WestJet flight that I needed to book, and I wanted a free checked bag, so I did change my RBC Avion away from an Avion earning card, and I was like, I don't know, for 15,000 miles, do I really want to send them to British Airways? And I decided to send them to AA, and they came in handy for this redemption. So if you've got a small balance that's left with RBC before you want a product switch to like the WestJet card, so you can get a free check bag on WestJet, I personally think you would get more value out of having a small amount of AA points versus having a little bit more RBC. I mean, I don't want to speak for you guys, a little bit more British Airways.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think that we all have more Avios than we can probably use.
Yeah. And much easier to earn.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Much easier to earn. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's AA dynamic pricing, 6,000 points cross-continent. Overnight hotel stay required, but real redemption. Now, I'm going to hand it off to somebody else to do a little bit of talking, and let's go to Josh to talk about Aeroplan dynamic pricing.
Yeah, so we've seen it for domestic flights within North America on Air Canada Metal. Pretty consistently can still get 1.5 to 1.7 cents Canadian per point. Not bad for what it's worth. Depending on the routing you're looking at, you can also find some short distances for close to 6,000 Aeroplan points one way. Again, not bad. There is the odd time, and this feeds into the whole dynamic thing too, where you can sometimes find really cheap business class fares on these routes as well. I've definitely seen business class pricing at economy or around economy pricing just due to flight load and what has sold and what hasn't. So it's always worth considering. And of course, run it up against the cash cost before you make a redemption like this to make sure it makes sense. But there's some good opportunities out there.
Yeah, and you might be able to find some shorter distances for about 6,000 points each way. So Aeroplan has now, unfortunately, kind of become a fixed value-ish points currency with the way that they're pricing everything with dynamic pricing. But you can still find some things that are close to where they should be on the award chart, which is for short distances, 6,000 points within North America. Sadly, the United sweet spot of partner awards has pretty much all but dried up. They went to a dynamic-ish United award chart, so about 10,000 points for any of those United 6,000, what used to be 6,000 points. Now, Jeff, I'm going to toss things off to you to talk about WestJet economy and how we can book those with other types of miles and points.
Yeah, so if you listen to the show, we're not the biggest fans of WestJet's loyalty program. But if you're looking to redeem for WestJet, we would recommend either using SkyMiles or Flying Blue. Both of those you can transfer from American Express Canada. The SkyMiles, the transfer rate isn't as good. 0.75 to 1, Flying Blue, now 1 to 1, so that's kind of nice. You can search these and book them online. The nice benefit of these redemptions, especially with SkyMiles, is that we can make free changes and cancellations with SkyMiles, which we should have mentioned when we were talking about American Airlines. You also get free changes and cancellations with American Airlines as well. So that's another reason why using some of the American programs sometimes usually have better cancellation policies. So if you're looking to redeem for WestJet, there is some value there. And if you're not certain on your plans, free changes and cancellations is really nice to have.
Yeah. I think it's kind of underappreciated by us sometimes, right? Until you really need to cancel a flight or shift something, like those costs can add up so quick. So being able to, book
quick.
a partner like that, like WestJet with SkyMiles, and knowing that if your plans change tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, or you need to cancel a flight completely, like it's not taking any additional money from your pocket, which is a major plus.
Yep. Really allows for speculative booking. So, I mean, if you've got a small amount of miles, you're probably not going to be doing any speculative booking.
That's true.
but it does allow, if you've got lots of miles and you're still listening to this episode, to get some inspiration. Speculative booking with SkyMiles is a great thing to do. Now, a true amazing use of a small amount of miles that probably most Canadians have is with Iberia economy or business class. And this is a big deal because they used to only fly to the US and the US East Coast, and it was a great deal. However, now they're flying from Toronto. So that's going to be starting, and the flights are bookable. We talked about this previously on the show. They're only going to be flying from June to October, and they're not flying on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so 5 days out of the 7-day week. However, economy flights start at 16,000 Avios. Now, it's important to note that this is economy basic, so usually when you book on points, it's not the lowest fare class. This is the lowest fare class, so you do not get a checked bag included in that. But these direct flights are expensive in cash. Like, they are looking at least $700-800 one way, and round trip, it's not that much cheaper. It's like $1,200. So to be able to redeem 32,000 RBC points, or more specifically, British Airways Avios transferred to Iberia Avios for a $1,200 flight is incredible. Taxes and fees going to be very reasonable, and it's a direct flight. Like, normally when we're talking about points and miles, you've got to be positioning here and transferring miles there, and you got an unconnected ticket, you're rushing to make your connection. It's got a whole lot of ways to be complicated. But if you have some points curious people in your world who live in Toronto and are interested in going to Europe and don't care too much about luxury, booking Iberia economy at saver rates is going to be the best way to get them hooked and add another churner to your life. Important to note that these are also available with business class. So if you can find it, anywhere from the East Coast is going to be 34,000 miles in business class to the East Coast, from the East Coast of the US and well, technically Toronto, to Madrid. So the off-peak pricing does include much of April and May. I've never actually flown this. I don't think either of you guys have either.
Not yet, no.
No, but it's a highly talked about sweet spot. So not the only resource to know about it. The only thing that I don't love about the Toronto route is that it is flown on an A321 XLR, which is a new plane, nice plane. It'll certainly be technology, lots of new technology, but it is a narrow body. So over the Atlantic, this can sometimes have a lot of turbulence, considering all the other wide bodies in the jet stream that are going to be upsetting the air. So if you're turbulent, sensitive, yeah. This might not be, might not be the right plane for you. Or if you're a thrill seeker, I mean, this is right up your alley. So let's see here. Jeff, you've got some notes about stopovers on airline redemptions. Then we might be able to use a small amount of points for that. Please divulge your thoughts.
Yeah, not just a small amount of points. How about no points?
I like it.
Yeah, so there's a couple programs that have free stopovers. I'll let you talk about Flying Blue, Danny, because I know, I think you mentioned you did a Flying Blue stopover redemption, so I'll let you cover that. I actually just did an Alaska Atmos stopover booking. It's really easy to do online. Unlike, I think, your experience, Danny, you can just plug in the dates you want, the flights you want, and they show up online, and they price correctly. So really, really easy with Alaska Atmos to do free stopovers. Aeroplan charges $5,000, which I think is still pretty reasonable. So if you're able to, find one of those dynamically priced flights that are fairly cheap, throwing in a stopover for 5,000 points is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So flying blue stopovers, you do have to do over the phone. But you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, adding a flying blue stopover to a promo reward ticket could be an excellent deal for a small amount of points.
Yep.
So the long and the short of it is with Flying Blue, they offer free stopovers. Usually you're going to be stopping over in Paris or Amsterdam, as those are their two hubs that they operate out of. And your stopover can be quite a long time, actually so long that I don't even know if they have a limit on it. And I recently did one for my parents where they wanted to leave Rome, stop over in Amsterdam for a couple of days, and then head back home to North America after that. And the flight from Rome to Amsterdam wasn't even at saver rates. It was actually dynamically priced quite high, but the timing was better. When I called the agent, they didn't specifically say this, but I'm assuming that because the transatlantic segment was so much longer than the short hop from Rome to Amsterdam, that it kind of trumped the fact that it was a dynamically high price segment from Rome to Amsterdam. So we got them a great flight that gets them into Amsterdam at a reasonable time. They don't have to wake up super early. And it was all priced at the $60K saver rate, even though that extra flight was, I think, 25,000 points all on its own just from Rome to Amsterdam. So you do have to do it over the phone, but the nice thing is that when you call in, you can actually put the itinerary on hold. And I believe they actually hold the award space for you as well. Yep. So you can have time to transfer points if there's any issues or anything like that, or you can think about it. You don't have to have this done right away. So it really provides a lot of flexibility where you can call Flying Blue, tell them what you want to do. They'll say, yep, that works. And then put the thing on hold, and then you can call them back where you'll get a specific flight booking reference number and transfer the points from your Amex Canada account. Make sure they all show up there, call them back and book it. So overall, I think Flying Blue free stopovers are going to be something that I look at more often because the award rates are better than Aeroplan. You don't have to pay any extra points. And the fact that there doesn't seem to be too much married segment logic going on is amazing. I'm not going to get into it here because we've covered it a bunch, but Aeroplan stopovers and married segment logic is proving to be a lot more complicated. And if that sounds complicated and you don't know what we're talking about, check out Jeff's married segment article that we'll link down in the show notes. All right, so shifting gears a little bit here, talking about hotel small balance redemptions. There's not a lot of black magic here other than kind of redeeming points where the US dollar typically goes a little bit further, and then also using some arbitrage with the transfer ratios that Canada has versus the US. But using Marriott Bonvoy points abroad is something that Jeff's done to stay at the JW Marriott Fuquoc. That was an awesome value for you, right, Jeff?
It was amazing. I loved it there. I think at the time we booked it, we stayed there 5 nights, and I think it worked out to like under 30,000 points a night at the time, which is amazing because I think the room they put us in was like $1,000 a night. Like their elite recognition there was crazy good. So yeah, Southeast Asia is a really nice sweet spot. Same along with the Middle East. You can find it's probably the last kind of area that you can get really outstanding value for Marriott redemptions.
Yeah, you're not really going to find great value in North America with a lot of these. That's just like, stop thinking that way. You got to think a little bit bigger picture and elsewhere in the world. I know many people are, they want to go to Disney and redeem points there and all that, but like it's just so expensive for what you get. So it's, your small balance of hotel points really doesn't go that far, kind of domestically. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah. One thing to think about is redeeming for some higher luxury brands like the Sheraton brand or the Autograph Collection. Oftentimes they'll give you a 1,000 point welcome amenity. And if your stay is only 9,000 points or 10,000 points to begin with, and you're doing a 1 night or 2 night stay, you're effectively getting like a 5% or a 10% rebate right away with that welcome gift. Besides breakfast, you don't have to give up breakfast to get that. So that is something to keep in mind. If you're considering brands, make sure that you're choosing one that it gives you that automatic 1,000 bonus points as a welcome gift. I think also using a small amount of Amex Canada points, if you need a hotel stay and you've got a Marriott free night certificate, like topping up 7,000 Amex Canada points to get 10,000 Marriott Bonvoy points is a great way to use a small balance that you have left on a card if you're looking for a way to use those. Or alternatively, some of the hotel stays in Southeast Asia that are 9,000 points or 10,000 points for luxury hotels, by the way. This is not like a Fairfield Inn. I stayed at Hotel Stripes in Kuala Lumpur. It's got a rooftop pool, elite snacks. It was 10.5K per night. And that would be like 7,500 Amex Canada points that you have to transfer to stay there. So Southeast Asia, great spot. Typically, using Marriott Bonvoy points at low-end properties is going to be where a lot of the value is. I find the high-end stuff, it used to be where some value was, but even now, like the high-end stuff is getting priced really far out. But Jeff, you're a guy that travels for sporting events. Sometimes when cash prices are high at low-end hotels, that can be a great use of Marriott Bonvoy points.
Yeah, I think this is something that you definitely want to look at. I'm not finding this to be the case that much anymore. I mean, specifically when it comes to Marriott with Hyatt, this is definitely still possible just because they have a fixed price award nights. So, yeah, I would look towards the fixed award price night programs if you're looking to for a hotel when prices are surging. Marriott, I'm just not finding the value there specifically. Like when we were in Nashville for a football game, the prices were like over the moon. So I mean, and I'm talking about Marriott specifically. So definitely something to keep in mind. But and I know Hyatt points are hard to use in Canada, or hard to earn in Canada. But that would probably be the route I would look toward.
Mm-hmm. The other option that you could do is get creative and send some points to another person. Josh, do you want to divulge what that tactic might be?
Yeah, this is a great play for those small balances where you just either they're sitting there dormant and you're going to risk them expiring, or you have a friend or family member you're looking to travel with. You can actually send up to is it 100,000 points? I believe it's 100,000 points per year, right? I should know that. I just did it like a month ago. You can send 100,000 points to another Marriott Bonvoy member. All you need is their member information, including their number and whatnot. So that's an easy way to shift them to another person if you're traveling with a family member or a friend. It may also be a way for you to kind of pseudo combine balances to then transfer to, let's say, Atmos Rewards and then redeem for 2 cheap flights or something. There's always an angle to be played there, but don't sleep on the ability to transfer points, whether that's with Marriott, Hilton, or any programs that offer it for those small balances, as it effectively moves them into something that's a little bit more useful than having 5,000 points sit dormant in your account.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah, and using those 15,000 Marriott points that you might have left, that would equal an Atmos Rewards 4,500 point short haul flight. My favorite deal for Canadians right now. You don't always have to transfer 60,000 points. It's the best value. But if you transferred 15,000 Marriott Bonvoy points, you would get just enough. You'd get 5,000 Atmos points, which you can book yourself a Porter economy flight. Now, getting into some more niche redemptions here, I know that Jeff did already mention Hyatt a little bit, so let's chalk them off the list right away. Hyatt point redemptions. As our resident Hyatt expert, Jeff, please tell us what we can do here.
Yeah, so as I said, Hyatt's the only program, or the only major hotel program that still has a fixed price award chart, and Category 1 starts at 3,500 points a night. So pretty fantastic. You'll also find many of their mid-range hotels. Like, for example, a Grand Hyatt, which is a pretty nice hotel, is always going to be priced very reasonably, I find. So those are kind of the program hotels that I would look to use them. If you get into U.S. credit cards, their credit card has a free night certificate, which is often worth well over $300 US. So getting into like those small little balances, you're going to probably find that your Hyatt points are going to go a long way.
Yeah. Category 1 hotels start as little as 3,500 points per night off peak.
Yeah.
So pretty incredible that just 3,500 points, or effectively you're in 5 Hyatt points per dollar spent at every hotel?
Yes.
Yeah. So again, what is that? $700. Doing some quick math on that. Spending $700 at Hyatt hotels will get you a free night at an off peak. All right, and then following Hyatt, we've got an outlier hotel loyalty program that seems to have hotels everywhere that you might not realize are part of the chain. Wyndham owns many low-rent hotels like Days Inns and Super 8s, and while they're not going to be glamorous, they can often be the best value if you just need a bed to sleep in on a road trip or for a kid's sporting event, that kind of thing. The cash and points rates, this is interesting. When you pay with cash and points, you still earn a minimum of 1,000 points, even on that rate. So even if you redeem 1,000 points to save $20 off your hotel, chances are, it's not 100%, but chances are you'll get that 1,000 points back. So if you ever have the opportunity to redeem just a few thousand points to save a decent chunk of money, you're going to probably earn at least half of those points back, or at least 1,000 of those points back. So that's a nice little trick that I learned staying in some very not so nice hotels. Otherwise, Wyndham Experiences has some, low priced buy it now options for college sporting events. So I've seen stuff like 6,000 points to sit on the floor to watch college basketball. Now, that might not be the most entertaining game of all time, but if you are a basketball fan and you're interested in getting up close and personal, that could be a great way to burn some of your points. One of the coolest things that I redeemed my points for recently, other than a JW Marriott Safari Lodge 5-night stay, was a 40,000 point Rangers versus Leafs lower bowl pair of tickets at Madison Square Gardens. It's a pretty amazing redemption, considering that this is not like a bid like we find Marriott Bonvoy Moments. You could just redeem 40,000 points and you get the tickets. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing how that experience goes. You can look for a post all about that for me in the future. It is interesting for Canadians, not because it's necessarily you're going to have 40,000 Wyndham points, but Wyndham points can often be bought for under 1 cent per point USD. So this can lead to some great deals, as not very many people have Wyndham Rewards points or even know that Wyndham Experiences exists. So you have very little competition for these rewards, and let's just say that you bought, make the math easy, these points at 1 cent per point. You'd spend $400 US for 2 lower bowl tickets to watch 2 original 6 hockey franchises square off in an iconic arena. It's kind of like spending points to spend more points if you don't live in New York City. But for me, who I'm already there and I was going to be in town that day, it was an amazing find. So my wife and I are looking forward to, it's not the Winnipeg Jets, but to watching at least her favorite hometown hockey team. And that pretty much does it for this episode of Big Redemptions for Small Balances. We thank you very much for listening to this episode again. If you have any feedback for us, please leave that in the podcast form or wherever you're watching or listening as a comment. If you have a review that you'd like to share, we would love those, and they're extremely helpful to get our podcast out to more eyes so we can publish more often. 5 stars is always very much appreciated. And again, thank you for showing up and listening to us talk about big redemptions for small balances. That'll do it for this episode. Bye, everybody.